Well, it's a very good morning from him, and of course, it's a very good morning from me. Welcome to my mortgage live stream, our Monday lunchtime live stream, which has been going on now for 4 or 5 odd years now. Way before the lockdown, we started this as well. And as you know, every week, well, most weeks anyway, when we're not on bank holidays, I come up for about 20 minutes or so, and I give you updates and new information about the mortgage service that you give, the mortgage advice service that you give to your clients, and financial advising as well, because many mortgage advisors are migrating over to financial advice world at the moment, which is very interesting, starting with protection, of course. The ones that are doing protection really well have got out of the mindset of the mortgage person, and they're now into the mindset of the financial advisor person. And that makes a big difference when it comes to advising on protection. And we can talk about that another time, nearer the time. Anyway, enough of that. Let's get on to our topics today. And I hope you're good. Hope your world is fine and you're enjoying the summer, the election in a couple of weeks' time. Yeah, I just got this feeling that the autumn's going to be good for us. I think the post-election bounce, of course, will always be good. Maybe the interest rates will come down a little bit in August, even if it's not a lot. It's just the sentiment that matters. And I think there's a lot of bubbling going under in the housing market and people wanting to move, etc. So I'm looking forward to the autumn. Actually, we've got a few things going on, plus next year as well. So we've had a couple of hard years, and maybe we're coming back out again as well. Remember, everything's cyclical. Never forget that. Always hard years and then good years. Anyway, let's get on to my topic today, which is looking at state pensions, really, and some of the welfare benefits. We did a session last week for a corporate client of ours looking at all of the welfare benefits available to clients. And as a result of the session, I just wanted to share a few things with you as well. So let's pop over then to my whiteboard where we can do this as well. So let's pop across then to our first session. Now, what I want to talk about today is deferring state pension. But before we go there, let's have a quick update of where we are with the pensions and stuff like that. So let's just do that with a couple of slides for you as well. So a couple of visual aids. Now, here in the on the screen for you is my summary of welfare benefits, which we put into all our revision guides and all our boot camps. It's a 2-page affair, as you can see, and it summarizes in fair enough detail all of the welfare benefits that are available to customers and clients of yours. And the one I want to refer you to really is the first page, which takes a look at the issues around state pension. And we're going to take a look at those in a second. But the first sort of categories that I focus on, if I just zoom in for you, you can see these. What I like to talk about is each of the welfare benefits and whether they are dependent on national insurance to get them, whether they are means tested, and whether they're taxed. And each of the welfare benefits, these 3 categories, feature very strongly in questions in the exam, but also in the way they operate. Now, a lot of people ask me about means testing and how that works. And I want to give you a quick update on that one before we take a look at the state pensions as well. So let's do that and go across to another whiteboard, shall we? We're all over the place today with the cameras, aren't we, in the studio? You just press a button and change the view. So welfare benefits and means testing is what I want to talk with you quickly. Now, as I mentioned to you, welfare benefits themselves, the things you claim, state benefits, are dependent. The amount of money you get and the type of benefit you get is really dependent on whether you've got a national insurance record. So when we talk about welfare benefits, we talk about national insurance record. Now, if you have a national insurance record, then it gives you special benefits. You get things like state pension, and you get employment support allowance, job seekers allowance. You get better benefits. You get better money if you've got a national insurance record. So make sure you keep your record up to date. Now, also, if you claim the benefits that give you that you claim because you've got a national insurance record, there's no means testing, and that's really important. So if you've got a benefit such as state pension, for example, there's no means testing. Now, we'll talk about means testing in a second, what it means. Now, the second category, of course, is if you haven't got a national insurance record. So if there's no NI record, or maybe your national insurance record is not up to date, or you've not earned much at all, or you've done anything, doesn't matter, but you haven't got a national insurance record, then the benefits you qualify for are all means tested. And that's the best way of seeing the difference. So no NI record, you claim various benefits such as universal credit, and they're all means tested. So what does means testing mean then? Well, means testing means that they check to see how loaded you are pretty much. The first thing they check down here for you is they take a look at your income. And they look at how much income you've got. Naturally, if you've got a lot of income, then you're not going to get welfare benefits, are you? Makes sense, doesn't it? It makes think about it. But the big one they tend to check, of course, is the amount of capital that you have. In other words, liquid investments, money, cash that you can liquidize pretty quickly. If you've got a lot of that, then they tend to not give you the benefit. And fair enough, if you've got a lot of money in the bank, you shouldn't really be qualifying for welfare benefits, should you? So let's just dive into some of that detail for you, first of all. Now, income is income. It doesn't matter what kind of income you've got, that generally qualifies as income. Capital is slightly different. Capital, put a little sort of box there for you, a big bag of money. You've got investments in the bank, you've got shares, you've got bonds, gilts, all the different investments come into that as well. Collectives, deposit accounts of the bank. What isn't covered, though, is your main residence, of course, your property. That's not covered as capital, which makes sense because you've got to live somewhere, haven't you? And pension pots as well are not covered. Let's put that in there for you. So if you've got a pension pot of whatever amount of money, that's not covered as capital. But the income the pension produces, if you're taking an income from it, so if you crystallize it, that's income. So you've got to look at that side of things as well. So how do they look at income then when it comes to, or how do they look at income and capital when it comes to getting your benefits or not? First of all, if you are, let's move that out of the way for a second. If you are under the age of 67, so let's put you in there, shall we? If you're under the age of 67, then you will qualify, or 66. It's state pension age, state retirement age is what they're looking at. I mean, I'm retiring at 67, which is why I look at that age. Then you will get benefits. If you're above state retirement benefit, state pension age, you get the pensions credit, which is another one altogether. So how do they work it? Well, basically, if you've got more than 16 grand in capital, then you get no means tested state benefits. In other words, if you're trying to claim for the benefit and you've got more than 16 grand in the bank, you ain't going to get none. If you've got between 6k and 16,000, then you'll get a tapered amount. You get less and they kind of taper it, they reduce it. If you've got less than £6,000, then they ignore it totally and you get your benefit payable in full. So that's pretty much the rule, really, which is great. Those figures have been around for a long time, by the way. Inflation's obviously eroded that, but they've ignored that one. Now, whether different governments will operate different things in the future, they may well do. But that's pretty much how means testing works. Okay, let's move on from there then, shall we? So back to our slides then. As you can see from our visuals here, you've got these categories: national insurance, whether it's dependent on getting it or not, means testing, or taxation. And that's how we tend to work it. So if we go back then to the detail of here, let's just flick out a bit for you so you can see what's going on here. And the first one I want to talk about quickly then is state benefits. The state benefits comes down to the basic state pension and state pensions credit, which I mentioned to you quickly. Now, the state pensions credit is an extra amount of money that's paid to people who aren't earning a lot, really. They may only have a basic state pension. They may not get the full amount. And they've got no other income at all. And they pay you up to these weekly thresholds. These change each year. And these weekly thresholds, 218, 333 for a couple. And once you get it, it opens up the gates for things like council tax support, housing benefits. It's a pretty good thing. You don't have to have a national insurance credit for pensions credit. It is means tested and it's not tax. That tends to be how it works. Payable till death. But they've got this £10,000 rule here. If you've got more than 10 grand in the bank, every £500, they count as a pound of income, which reduces your entitlement. It's basically, if you're earning more than £218, you ain't going to get it, are you? It's only if you're earning less than that. So that's the state pensions credit, which is really important for people. Now, the new state pension there, as you can see, gives you a retirement income for men and women above 66 at the moment. So it's going up to 67 shortly, and it may well change again. Payable until death, but you do need a national insurance record to get it. And you need 35 years of qualifying national insurance. And it does increase at the moment with this triple lock CPI 2.5% or earnings, average earnings. Whether that will stay put in the future, one doesn't know, but it's kicking along nicely at the moment. It's not means tested, that's the key thing, but it is taxed. Although that actually has been in the election. You probably read about Rishi's decided never to tax the basic state pension because the personal allowance is now beginning to exceed the pension, or the pension's exceeding the personal allowance. So anyway, that's all politics, isn't it? But the thing I want to talk to you about now is deferring the pension. Not a lot of people are aware of this, but you can defer your state pension and get a lot more money. So let me explain to you how this all works, and show you. For this one, we're going to pop over here then to our big whiteboard. Now, for most people, 66, 67, you get your state pension and you hang up your boots and you enjoy your retirement years. But some people like to carry on working. And a lot of us now do knowledge-based work. I do knowledge-based work myself, and I don't intend to stop work at 67. And I'm planning so that I don't stop work. Therefore, I'm not going to take my state pension at 67. My target date for retirement, so let's put a target in there for you, like a little archery target there. There you go. My target date for retirement is 2035. It's just my target date, and I'll be 72, 73 then. That's when I'm going to hang up my boots and maybe do the odd day or two, or keep on doing a bit of writing, keep the brain working, that sort of thing. So that's my plan. Now, my state pension, as you say, is payable at 67, but I'm going to defer it. Now, what about me then? When I started work when I was 16, because I did a part-time job in the bank building society while I did my A-levels, and I got a full-time job when I was 19. So I've paid national insurance since age 16, and I have as well. Now, if I retire at 73, I stop paying national insurance at 67. That's the rule. You don't pay national insurance once you reach retirement age. So I'm going to have a 51-year record. Imagine that, of national insurance. Half a century I've been paying tax and national insurance. Now, to get the full state pension, of course, you only need 35 years service to get the full one. So hopefully I'm on for it. And just to double check that I am, and you might want to do this for yourself or for your clients, you need to fill in a BR19. It's a form, it's an online form. I don't know why they call it a BR19. Sounds like a bus, doesn't it, to Chipping Norton or whatever. But you fill in this form and it tells you what your pension entitlement is going to be. So I did this, and let me share with you my pension form as well, if you're really interested. So let me just pop across here and we'll have a look at this for you. Here we go. Now here's my state pension forecast. There's nothing to hide here because it's all just probably the same figures as you'll get as well. And if you zoom in for a second or two, you can see what's going on. Now, I did this last year before they put it up, but £203.85 is the maximum pension I'm going to get. That's per week. It's gone up, of course, this year to £11,500. And it's payable 4 weeks in arrears. And it sounds great. You'll have to pay national insurance until 2030. But of course, I reached national state pension age in 2030. So that's telling me that if you want to go ahead, Mr. Archer, you're good to go. Now, just a quick aside for you. Let's just bring that up for a second or two. On the next page, you've got this thing here called the COPE pension. Now, the COPE pension is the estimate of the additional state pension you would have been paid if you'd contracted out, or not contracted out. Now, I contracted out of SERPs, as it was back in the 80s and 90s, and the noughties as well. Therefore, that money was put into a personal pension at the time. So I would have got another £37. Well, I wouldn't have done, because that's the maximum state pension. So my state pension forecast already includes a deduction for this. So because I'm going to be paying, for like 51 years, they're going to give me the full pension, which is good. Just wanted to give that information there to you. So what have we got then? So at age 67, then I can retire on full pension, state pension that is, which is 11,000. Let's put the figure up there for you. In today's prices, of course, £11,502 per annum. There you go. Now, I don't need to do this. I don't want it, so I can defer it. Now, if I defer my state pension, it means I don't take it. So the government saves £11,500 a year, which is brilliant as far as they're concerned. So they will allow me to increase my state pension for every year that I defer it. And for each year, they increase it at the moment to 5.8%. It used to be a bit more than that, actually. They may change it. What that means is I defer it for 1 year, I then get 5.8% on top of that. Then if I defer it for another year, I get another 5.8%. So I've done the maths, and this is all compounded as well. So each year it gets increased by 5.8%. So by year 5, as I put it here for you, so once I've deferred it for 5 years, so in other words, age 72, I should get in today's prices £15,248. So, it's quite worth doing, really. Obviously, for 5 years, you haven't received that money, so it's not free cash. You're just not getting the money, are you? So you're getting another £4,000 a year, if you like, in state pension. Now, that's today's money, remember. That will increase, hopefully, with the triple lock by CPI, 2.5% or average earnings. So it will compound twice if you think about it, because not only will the state pension go up, you then have the 5.8% on the previous year's figure as well. So that's what I'm doing, and a lot of people are now, because people live longer, don't they? People live beyond certain ages now, and they carry on working. A lot of people like to work. The guys that do the Tesco deliveries, they're all retired, and the ladies as well. And they're just keeping their hand in, keeping occupied. I think gone are the days when people hung up their boots and went to work on the allotment for 5 days a week. I think those days have gone. I think people like to keep themselves active, particularly if they're not doing a hard labour job. Remember, our economy in the past was hard labour, wasn't it? Factories. Now people tend to use their brains more, and many, of course, are working from home now. So the physical effort is not there so much. It's just the mental effort that's required. And people like to keep that brain going, don't they? So that's deferring state pension. Just thought I'd share that with you, some of the details of that. So back then to our visuals then, and we'll flick away from the state pension and we'll go back to our state pensions credits brochure. Now, this leaflet that I have, this 2-page leaflet, it's in all our guides. I won't talk about it any more for you. At some other point, we might talk about it a little bit more as we go along. So I hope that has been of use for you. A bit of an update for you, isn't it, what's going on? Lots of things, of course, changing all the time, but we keep our stuff up to date as much as possible, and we keep changing all our online portals, because all our guides and test packs are all online, so we just change them. That's why I give people a whole year's access, because in August everything gets updated automatically. They don't need to worry about it. So I think that's important to do that. All right, let's finish off now then, shall we, with a little topic for you which I want to share with you, which is something that's quite important to me, actually. Now, and I'll share with you the topic I want to take a look at, which is this one: AB negative, invisible becomes visible. So what's this all about then? Well, the title here is AB negative, she said to me. It's rare, apparently. Only 1% of the population have blood type AB. And when I gave my blood a couple of months ago, I was particularly proud of the fact that I was like the 1%. Now, the people from the blood donor system, blood.co.uk, encouraged me to download an app for my phone. I said, what's that for? She said, well, it's when you book up your appointments, you can see your dates, etc. But also, it's very clever, because what it does is it has kind of like this visual map on there showing where your blood goes. So when I gave my pint of blood, it got whipped into a van, in a frozen fridge thing, and it was whipped down to Bristol. I could see it on the map, like an Uber driver, From Bristol, the following day, it then drove its way down to the Royal Bournemouth Hospital, where it was used later that day for somebody in an operation. Now, okay, what's the value of that? But I felt quite proud, actually, that my pint of blood was actually being used, because you don't know, do you? And it was used by a patient in the Royal Bournemouth Hospital. What they've done cleverly there, the blood people, is they've made invisible visible. And that's the phrase. So a couple of ideas to help you in your business with this, making the invisible visible. Now, first of all, if you are a financial advisor firm and you charge an ongoing advice fee, which of course is all under scrutiny at the moment, then what you want to do there is not just obviously do the ongoing advice. You want to show the customer, the client, exactly what goes on behind the scenes in your firm. Because it's not just you giving advice. There's all sorts of systems and procedures and computers and people. I mean, go and introduce them to the paraplanners, for example. Show them the processes, the people that make up the entire service that makes you give the advice to the client on an annual basis. So that's invisible becomes visible. If you're a mortgage advisor, mortgage broker, and you search the entire mortgage marketplace for the right finance for the client, don't just go off and use your sourcing software. Of course you can, but show the customer the software in the DIP meeting before you go and do your sourcing. Bring up the software on your laptop and show them what it looks like. All the different lenders. Use it as a sales aid, if anything. But more importantly, you're demonstrating its complexity, how it works, how different it is to a Google search, because people are used to Google, aren't they? How much it costs, maybe slip in the license fee as well, because they're not cheap, these things. Again, you're sharing with the client, invisible, making it visible. And another idea for you, say you're directly authorized with the FCA, you're not a network member. And you tell the customer that at the beginning when you do your disclosure, because you have to, and it's part of the deal, isn't it? But don't just tell them that, demonstrate it. For example, if you've got a dedicated compliance person in your firm, get them to pop into the meeting and introduce them. If you're on Zoom, just bring them in on the call. Introduce them to the compliance officer, and so that she can tell the client exactly what they do. Show them some of the processes that you go through, some of the returns you have to do, some of the paperwork maybe, how you connect with the regulator and what you need to be doing. Talk to them about consumer duty and the rules that go behind that, and the sort of things you have to do to maintain your authorization. Again, you're making invisible visible. I'm back in September for my next dose. You have to give it a few months before you can donate some more. So I'll pop down to Cheltenham where they do it, and it's a bit disappointed because they don't give you cups of tea anymore. They're not allowed to. So they have to give you cold drinks now. Health and safety, apparently. I mean, that's making invisible visible, isn't it? There you go. A little update there for you as well, which I hope you enjoyed that bit of a sales tip as well for you, for your business. Okay, so let's wrap up. As always, let's give you the QR code, because I always encourage you to get onto our database there. And in the show notes below us, or in the comments box, there's a link there where you can get onto our database. So you've got a lot of things coming up in July, August, updating everything. Of course we are. I'm also doing a 4-series live stream on how to think about becoming a financial advisor from being a mortgage advisor, and then what it means to become a financial advisor. Some of the pitfalls, some of the things to think about, some examples of what other people have done it as well. I might get some live interviews with people that have done it as well, just to sort of talk to you about that. So that's coming up in August. Got a new blast for our DIP FA training in September. Looking forward to that. Load of great support there. And we're introducing a cohort system for our CMAP training as well, because I think this September is going to get really quite busy. So we're getting ourselves prepared for that. So that's basically what's going on for us over the next couple of months. But for you, maybe there's some sunshine. Maybe you're off on your hollybobs. Children break up in a couple of weeks' time. Have fun, everybody, and I'll see you next week.